For years, one of the biggest arguments against switching to Linux has been music production. While Linux has gained an incredible reputation among developers, system administrators, gamers, and privacy enthusiasts, creative professionals have often remained loyal to macOS. Apple's operating system has built a strong reputation thanks to its stable audio framework, its professional software ecosystem, and tight integration with hardware. But now it's 2026, and Linux has evolved faster than many expected. New desktop environments, better hardware support, lower audio latency, and a growing library of professional applications have sparked a serious question. Can Linux finally compete with macOS for music production? The answer isn't as simple as yes or no, because the reality depends entirely on the type of musician, producer, or audio engineer you're talking about. The first thing to understand is why macOS became such a dominant platform for musicians in the first place. Apple's core audio architecture has long been praised for delivering extremely low latency with minimal configuration. A musician could plug in an audio interface, launch their favorite digital audio workstation, and begin recording within minutes. Hardware compatibility was generally excellent because Apple controlled both the hardware and software. This predictable environment allowed music producers to spend less time troubleshooting and more time creating. Over the years, that reliability became one of macOS's greatest selling points. Linux, by comparison, used to require patience and technical knowledge. Audio routing could become confusing. Configuring low-latency kernels often demanded command-line experience, and compatibility with commercial software was inconsistent. Many users appreciated Linux's flexibility, but found the setup process intimidating. Even experienced Linux enthusiasts sometimes recommended keeping a separate Windows or Mac system solely for professional recording sessions because they didn't want unexpected issues during important projects. Fast forward to 2026, and the Linux audio landscape looks dramatically different. Modern distributions have made professional audio much easier to configure. PipeWire has matured into an impressive audio server that combines the strengths of previous Linux audio systems while simplifying configuration. Musicians can now enjoy professional-grade audio routing, low latency, and application compatibility without constantly editing configuration files. This single improvement has removed one of the largest obstacles that previously discouraged creative professionals from considering Linux. Desktop environments have also become more polished. Whether someone prefers KDE Plasma, GNOME, Cinnamon, or lightweight alternatives, the user experience is far more refined than it was only a few years ago. Stable graphics drivers, improved Wayland support, and better power management contribute to a smoother production environment. Instead of spending hours fixing desktop issues, many users can now install a modern Linux distribution and begin working almost immediately. The software ecosystem has grown significantly as well. Open-source digital audio workstations have become more powerful with every release. Ardour continues to evolve into a capable professional DAW, suitable for recording, mixing, and mastering. LMMS has expanded its feature set for electronic music production. Bitwig Studio maintains excellent native Linux support and has become one of the strongest commercial DAWs available on the platform. REAPER also runs exceptionally well on Linux, giving users another professional-grade option with impressive performance and flexibility. Plugin support has historically been one of Linux's weakest areas, but here too, progress has been substantial. Native Linux VST plugins continue to increase in number, while compatibility tools have matured considerably. Many Windows VST plugins can now function through compatibility layers with surprisingly stable performance. Although not every plugin works perfectly, producers who carefully choose their software can build complete professional workflows without feeling severely limited. This is a major improvement compared to the fragmented situation that existed several years ago. Performance is another area where Linux often surprises people, because Linux generally uses system resources efficiently. More CPU power can be dedicated to audio processing instead of background operating system tasks. On identical hardware, some users report lower CPU usage during demanding recording sessions compared to other operating systems. Lower overhead means more virtual instruments, more effects, and larger projects before performance begins to suffer. For producers working with complex arrangements, every bit of extra performance matters. Customization is another advantage that continues to attract professionals. Linux allows users to tailor nearly every aspect of their operating system. Background services can be minimized, unnecessary software removed, kernel parameters adjusted, and workflows optimized for recording sessions. Casual users may never touch these settings. Professionals who understand their systems appreciate having this level of control. The operating system becomes a dedicated production tool rather than a platform filled with unwanted background activity. Another important factor is hardware compatibility. It's audio interfaces from companies like Focusrite, MOTU, RME, and several USB-compliant manufacturers generally work very well under Linux. Thanks to improved kernel support, many devices function immediately without requiring proprietary drivers. MIDI keyboards, control surfaces, and USB instruments have also become much easier to integrate into Linux-based studios. Although some specialized hardware still depends on manufacturer-specific software unavailable for Linux, the list of compatible devices continues to grow every year. However, despite all these improvements, Linux still faces important challenges that prevent it from fully replacing macOS for every musician. The biggest issue remains commercial software availability. Industry-standard applications such as Logic Pro are exclusive to Apple's ecosystem. Pro Tools, although technically available on other platforms, does not provide native Linux support. Many producers have invested years mastering software unavailable outside macOS or Windows. Rebuilding an entire workflow around different applications is often difficult, regardless of how capable Linux has become. Plugin compatibility remains another concern for professionals. While compatibility tools have improved dramatically, relying on translation layers introduces uncertainty. A plugin that functions perfectly after one update may develop unexpected issues after another. Commercial studios handling client work cannot always accept that level of unpredictability. Native support from plugin developers is increasing, but remains far from universal. Until more companies officially support Linux, this will continue to be one of its biggest limitations. Technical support also deserves consideration. When using macOS, software vendors generally provide documentation specifically written for Apple's operating system. Hardware manufacturers frequently test their products extensively on macOS before release. Linux users often depend on community documentation, forums, and independent developers for troubleshooting. Fortunately, Linux communities are known for being extremely helpful, but professional environments sometimes require official vendor support rather than community advice. Another advantage that macOS continues to enjoy is ecosystem integration. Musicians who also edit videos, design artwork, manage mobile devices, and collaborate with clients often appreciate Apple's seamless ecosystem. AirDrop, iCloud synchronization, device continuity, and integrated creative applications save time throughout the production process. Linux offers alternatives for nearly everything, but those alternatives don't always integrate as seamlessly across multiple devices. Despite these challenges, Linux is becoming increasingly attractive for independent musicians. Content creators, YouTubers, podcasters, electronic music producers, composers, and hobbyists may discover that Linux offers everything they actually need without expensive hardware or restrictive ecosystems. Modern Linux distributions can transform affordable PCs into highly capable recording workstations. Combined with free professional software, this dramatically lowers the financial barrier to entering music production. Education is another area where Linux shines. Students learning recording techniques can access professional-grade tools without purchasing costly operating systems or subscriptions. Schools and universities can deploy Linux labs equipped with powerful open-source software, allowing students to focus on creativity instead of licensing costs. As more young producers begin their careers using Linux, the platform's popularity within the music industry may continue growing naturally. The open-source philosophy also encourages innovation. Developers actively collaborate to improve audio infrastructure, fix bugs, and introduce new features. Instead of waiting for a single corporation to prioritize specific improvements, Linux benefits from contributions made by developers around the world. This collaborative development model has accelerated progress significantly during the past several years, making Linux audio more stable and more accessible with every release. So, can Linux finally beat macOS for music production in 2026? The honest answer is that it can absolutely compete, but whether it wins depends on the individual user's needs. If your workflow relies heavily on Logic Pro, exclusive plugins, or Apple's integrated ecosystem, macOS still holds a meaningful advantage. However, if you're willing to embrace modern Linux native tools or carefully selected cross-platform software, Linux has matured into a genuinely professional platform capable of producing commercial-quality music. It is no longer just an experimental alternative for enthusiasts. Instead, it has become a serious option that deserves consideration from anyone building a music production setup in 2026. The gap that once seemed impossible too close has narrowed dramatically, and while macOS still leads in certain professional workflows, Linux has finally reached the point where choosing it is no longer a compromise for many creators.